Hi, everyone. Starcasting to you from the City of Angels. My name is Kiris. Thank you so much for being here and listening to the Voice of Astrology podcast. This is for the week beginning Sunday, January 9th, 2022. Let's take a look at how to connect with the stars and the planets for our week ahead. And fasten your seatbelts. It's going to get wild, and I'm going to explain in a second. So, Sunday, the week starts off with the second quarter moon at 19 degrees Aries. The sun exalts Aries. Aries is the first sign of the zodiac, cardinal fire, the newborn baby, courageous, brave, excitement, unpretentious. What you see is what you get. Children don't hide, children just let it all out. So the first sign of Aries, which is springtime, everything is fresh and brand new, and it's full of excitement and hope and promise. The sun is exalted in Aries. Aries is ruled by Mars. This second quarter moon at 19 degrees Aries, that 19 degrees is the exaltation point, the exaltation degree, the highest point of Aries. So things are heating up. Now, when we go from second quarter to full moon, that quadrant of the moon, that part of the moon phase, as we're moving towards full moon, relates to summertime. It's choleric, it's hot, it's dry. No matter what time of the year this second quarter to full moon phase takes place in, it brings in a hot summertime influence. So here's the second thing that's adding to the heat, meaning, come on, let's go. It's fire. We want it yesterday, if possible, especially with the sign of Aries. So to say that the energies are impatient, intensifying, plus we're moving towards the full moon is an understatement with this second quarter at 19 degrees Aries, and it's moving towards full moon, hot and dry, choleric phase of the moon. Things are hot, hot, hot. Now, when we look at the sign of Aries, Aries is what's called one of the feral signs of the zodiac. In astrology, Aries, Taurus, Leo, Sagittarius, these are the signs of the zodiac that are wild and untamed. They're feral. They won't be caged in. They will not stay within the boundary. They relate to wild animals in nature. So the natural nature of the feral signs of the zodiac, again, it's being in touch with the untamed wildness of your beingness. Where is it in you that you long to be feral, to be untamed, to be wild and free? So as we move into the beginning of the week, so we have this second quarter moon in a feral sign of the zodiac, first sign of the zodiac. Think of the ram and then the horns of the ram. They're just going to push right through. They're going for it. So you will feel very fired up as far as wanting to get something done, wanting to get moving. Just spoke with a client the other night, and she has accomplished a lot in her life, but she's like, what's the next new exciting thing? When are we going to be able to get going already? So this is how we're starting off Sunday, going into second quarter up to the full moon. Now on Monday, the moon is going to move into her exaltation in the sign of Taurus. Taurus the bull, another feral sign of the zodiac. Fixed earth, endurance, see it through. On Monday, even though Mercury is in its storm, moving less than 40 minutes of arc per day, we're approaching that Mercury retrograde, stationing retrograde. Even though Mercury has slowed down, It means stay the course, see it through. It doesn't mean stop because we're going to Mercury retrograde time. Especially with the moon in fixed earth Taurus, which is the moon is in her exaltation in Taurus. You want it badly, you want it all. So go for it, stay the course, just like Taurus, which is Taurus makes the commitment. Taurus says they're going to do something. They're going to see it through. We're looking at fixed earth. Also, when we look at fixed earth, this is common sense, practicality, the discipline to see something through and get the job done. That's what this means, basically, even though we're going into the Mercury retrograde. The energy is, and how to connect to the stars and the planets with this energy is that the energy is saying, yes, I'm all excited about getting something done, and I'm going to stay the course, even though we all hear about the famous Mercury retrograde endlessly. It doesn't mean stop. It means stay the course. So the second quarter moon, the sun is exalted in Aries. Sun is the vitality, the life force. Now we have the moon moving into her exaltation, Taurus. So this is over the top when it's exalted, meaning just see it through. Now, when we go to January 12th, we have what's called Mars out of bounds. Now, Mars is the planet that rules Aries. Mars is the planet that takes action. And Mars right now is in the sign of Sagittarius, yet another feral sign of the zodiac. So Mars in Sagittarius, ruled by Jupiter, which doesn't have any boundaries. Jupiter just keeps going and going. Jupiter is increase. And so now we have Mars going what's called out of bounds. And this is Mars going rogue. Mars saying, no, I'm not going to follow the rules. I will not be tamed. Even if Mars had been in a different sign other than Sagittarius, when a planet goes out of bounds, outside of its normal declination, that planet, but in this case, it's Mars, that planet is saying, no, I'm not following the rules. I'm going rogue. I'm breaking free. I'm going to do my own thing. Watch what happens with the weather. Watch what happens with the market. So on January 12th, Mars, the ruler of Aries, that kicked off the second quarter moon, Mars being about action, Mars in Sagittarius, yet another feral sign of the zodiac ruled by Jupiter, of all things, is saying, I'm just going whole hog wild. So what this means for you is that you will have this, if you connect to the energy of it, what you can do with this is take a look at if you've been doing the same old thing all the time and not getting the results you seek. When Mars goes out of bounds and Mars being about action, and Sagittarius is ruled by half man, half horse, meaning has to be wild and free to go roam and explore and go on new adventures. It's about discovery, going on new adventures that excite you. So when we get this Mars out of bounds, think about how you can do things differently, how you can take a different action. And of course, think about and connect to the energy of what new adventure in your life would you like to go on? Sagittarius is very much about teaching, philosophy, higher levels of learning and consciousness. It could be you go back to university or you take some type of class or workshop where you feel like, I'm going rogue. I'm going to go beyond the limits of how I usually think. So whatever that means for you, this Mars out of bounds is you're going on a different exploration. whether it's physically, emotionally, mentally, philosophically, especially with Sagittarius. But Mars is out of bounds. Do something different. In other words, Mars is about taking the action. Now, when we start to close the week, the moon will move into Gemini. Gemini is a double sign. It's an air sign, and it's about adaptations and changes. Gemini they do get very bored if they stick with the same thing all of the time. And what makes air signs so happy is when they're learning something new. So with this moon in Gemini, the moon in mutable air Gemini will make a beautiful air trine flow to Mercury in fixed air Aquarius. And then the moon in Gemini will make an air trine flow, which means support. It's easier. An air trine flow to Saturn in fixed air Aquarius. So a mindset, a different way of communication. It can bring in travel because air has to move. It's got to be free. But these trine flows are very supportive aspects to when the moon goes into Gemini. And then on January 14th, Friday, Venus's day, Mercury stations retrograde in Aquarius. So when Mercury takes a pause, meaning stops at the station, Mercury stations before Mercury is fully retrograde, then that's taking a pause for a moment whenever you can, just stopping for a second and thinking, what do I want to go back? And perhaps look at it a second and third time, because there will be a mindset that changes when we go into this Mercury retrograde in the sign of Aquarius. So before it's fully retrograde, it's kind of like take a second and third look, take a pause at what it is that you feel, communication, the mind, what needs to be adapted and go in a different direction at this time as we go into the Mercury retrograde. Now on January 15th, we have Venus emerging as a morning star. So Venus has been in inferior conjunction with the sun, and we had the Venus star point, meaning Venus conjunct the sun, and now Venus is emerging. The Queen of Heaven is emerging as a morning star. Watch the early morning sky if where you are, the skies are clear. But this is the rose, the jewel of the night sky, visible again. And also on this day, when Venus emerges, and we can see her again, this January 15th, the moon goes home to Cancer. So when the moon, which is comfort and that feeling of soothing and being at home and very happy, and that feeling of protection, when the moon goes home to Cancer on the day that Venus emerges as a morning star close to the earth, think of it like a Venus in Taurus, which is beauty and art and creativity, very fertile and connected to nature. Everything in astrology is connected to the natural world. And we are a part of that connection to nature, to the natural world. Now, after the moon goes home in Cancer, she makes a beautiful water trine flow to Jupiter at home in Pisces. So this water trine flow, Venus has returned, and the moon and Jupiter in harmony, a water trine flow, it's fertility, creativity, being in touch with your emotions, how you feel. What a beautiful aspect as we're closing out the week. And yes, we're in a waxing moon phase as we're getting to that point of the full moon. So waxing gibbous, meaning there's always more room for growth. We're not at that exact moment of full culmination, full moon. So talk about things growing and fertile with the moon at home in Cancer, making a trine to Jupiter. Doesn't get better than that. So this is our week with Mars going out of bounds and everything else happening. Think of yourself as heated up, warmed up, in the sense of, yes, you're going to take the action, and perhaps a different action that is rogue for you. Going rogue means different things for different people. But you saying, no, I'm not going to follow the rules. I'm going to take a different action. And this is our second quarter to full moon time as we're approaching the full moon, second quarter moon. Thank you so much for being here, listening to the Voice of Astrology podcast. I'll see you all in the stars, and I'll see you next week. Thank you, everyone.